අයිබෝන් අද දවසේ විසගුරු කතා බහ ටිකක් වෙනස් විදිහේ කතා බහක් චතුරිකා අද මෙදිරියේ ඉන්නවා අපේ විශේෂ ආරාධිතයෙක් අද ඉන්නවා අපි ඉතින් කතාව කරගෙන යමු අද අපි කතා කරන සූදානම් වෙන්නේ හිරුණොබසින අධිරාජ්‍ය ගැන මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය ගැන ගැන කතා කරද්දී අපිට පෞද්ගලික කාල සීමාවේ විවිධ ප්‍රවෘත්ති අසන්නට ලැබුණා මොකද සිසුන්ගේ වැඩි කතා බහට ලක් වෙච්ච රටක් තමයි මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය කියන්නේ මොකද මේ ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ස්ලා අරගෙන යන්න ලොකු ප්‍රශ්න ආවා ඒක මම හිතන්නේ තාමත් ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඇදමින් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේකට මොනවද තියෙන ඔප්ෂන්ස්?
සහ කොහොමද ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ස්වත් එක්ක තාමත් යන්න
පුළුවන්ද? ක්‍රම හොයමින් ඉන්න දවස්තාව. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ අද මේ ගැන කතා කරන්න සුවිශේෂී කෙනෙක් අපේ මැදිරියට පැමිණ සිටිනවා. අපි හඳුන්වා දෙන්නම් මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍යයේ ඇබර්ටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ ආප්‍රිකානු හා ආසියානු කලාපයේ භාර ජාත්‍යන්තර නියෝජිතවරිය ෆිනිලා හැක්වුඩ්. වෙල්කම් ටු ද ෂෝ. මම හිතන්නේ අද දවසේදී මේ කතා බහ කරගෙන යන්න චතුරිකා සූදානම්ෙන් ඉන්නවා. චතුරිකා ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මේ කතා බහ ඉදිරියට අරගෙන යන්න. අපි අවශ්‍ය පරිදි අපේ සිංහලෙන් අපේ බලන නරඹන පිරිස දැනුවත් කරමු ඒ එන විදියට. මම හිතන්නේ අපිට අද දවසේදී අර මේ දැන් UK යන්න ඉන්න අයට මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍යයට යන්න ඉන්න අයට එන ප්‍රශ්න අපි කොහොමද निराකරණය කරගන්නේ නැත්නම් කොහොමද අර කියපු විදියට තාමත් යන්න පුළුවන් ඔන්න ඔය වගේ කාරණා ගැන කතා කරමු. මම හිතන්නේ චතුරිකාට බාරයි අද මැදිරිය මේ කටයුත්ත දිගටම කරගෙන යන්න අපි අවශ්‍ය පරිදි මේක සිංහලෙන් අපි ජනතාව දැනුවත් කරමු. නරඹන පිරිස දැනුවත් කරමු. ඉතින් චතුරිකාට අවස්ථාව.
අනිවාර්යෙන්ම. බුද්ධිමන් දැන් කියන්න ඕන කාරණාවක් ඇත්තටම අපි දැන් ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ස්ලාගේ ඉෂුව එක ගැන කතා කරනකොට ඇබර්ටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය ගැනත් අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කතා කරනවා. ඇබර්ටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ තියෙන ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් ගොඩක් අපේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලාට අන්ඩර් ග්‍රැජුවේට් සහ මාස්ටර්ස් ෆලෝ කරන ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලාට කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මම ඔයාගේ ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ස්ලාගේ කතාවෙන් පටන් ගන්නම්. අපි ෆින්ගෙන් ආලා බලමු කොහොමද එයාගේ view එක මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ගැන. So Finn, so we would like to know now UK they have been having these bit of changes in terms of banning on dependents. So the students are not able to accompany their dependents to UK now. So how do you experience this and what is the impact you have as a university?
For sure, and we've definitely felt the impact of these changes that the UK government made. There is a restriction on dependents being allowed to join students at undergrad and taught master's level. However, we do still have the options for postgrad research students to bring their families, their dependents with them. And of course, at undergraduate level, the single students as well are absolutely welcomed with open arms. So we do want to emphasise that we are still open and we are still very welcoming to international students. We are also looking to make sure that throughout the process that they're fully informed of what they can do, what the student visa does allow them to do. Most importantly, once they graduate, they have their post-study work visa allowance. So currently that is sitting at 2 years for undergrad and taught master's students and 3 years for PhD research students as well. So I'm hoping that that still entices and welcomes students into the UK. It's definitely something that as a university we want to promote. And we want to still make sure that that is a welcoming message to everyone.
Yes, of course. And again, speaking about dependents, so they are still able to accompany dependents if they are going on a research program.
Yes.
So what kind of research programs does Abertay offers?
Absolutely. So we have around 44 different topics in research. These do mirror the degrees that we have at undergrad and master's level. So this would involve any business-related research, anything within biomedical science, forensic science. We also have a lot of psychology focuses in research as well, and not to mention our technical school. So artificial intelligence, computer games, we have a vast array within cybersecurity, and ultimately, if there's even a small link to one of our subjects, research can really take students in a multitude of different ways. So I would encourage students to have a look, see what we offer, utilize our partnerships here in Sri Lanka, because that way we can talk about our masters and fully inform. But yeah, lots of different subjects. Definitely encouraging students to have their own subject and their own mentality of research, because ultimately that is going to drive their research project when they're studying in the UK.
All right. So you heard it. So still now, a lot of students have been, very worried about not being able to go with your family because බුද්ධි අපි දන්නවා දැන් ෆැමිලි එකක් දාලා යනවා.
දාලා යනවා කියන්නේ ඒක තාම ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඒ කියන්නේ. මොකද
ඉතින් එතකොට දැන් මෙතන රිසර්ච් වලට යනවා නම් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ෆැමිලි එකත් අරගෙන යන්න තවමත් chance එක තියෙනවා.
තියෙනවා. ඒකද දැන් මේ කතාවේ අපිට අල්ලගන්න මම පොඩි වචනයක් අල්ලගත්තා මේ වීඩියෝ ගේම්ස් ඒ වගේ දේවල් පවා මේ රිසර්ච් ගැන කතා කරද්දී සඳහන් කරා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක මේ තාම පුළුල් විෂයපතයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ දේවල් වලට ගිහිල්ලා ඔබට මේ අවස්ථාව උදා කරගන්න ඕනවටත් වඩා දැන් අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා. ඒකින්ද අර Tamanට නොලැබෙන දේ ගැන විතරක් හිතලා මේක පස්සට දාන්න එපා. ඒහින්ද අර තමන්ට පුළුවන් දේ ඇසුරෙන් තමන් මේ තමන්ගේ ඉදිරි ගමන සැලසුම් කරගන්න කියන කාරණය තමයි ඒ කියන්නේ. ඒක දැන් අර එකක් දෙකක් නෙවෙයි ලොකු විශාල පරාසයක තියෙනවා. ඒකින්ද ඇබර්ටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලේ ඔබට ඔෆර් කරලා තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේ හැමදේම කරන්න ඔබට අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා චතුරිකා.
ඔව්. එතකොට මේ මට අහන්න පොඩි ඉන්ට්‍රස්ටිං කතාවක් තියෙනවා. පින්ගෙනුත් අපි අහලා දැනගමු. දැන් අර ස්කොට්ලන්ඩ් ඇබර්ටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලේ පළවෙනිටම කියන්න ඕනේ ස්කොට්ලන්ඩ් වල තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් එතකොට ස්කොට්ලන්ඩ්
එන ප්‍රශ්නයක් සමහරවිට බාධා කරා මේ රටවල් දෙකක්ද එහෙට වෙනස්ද නීති මෙහෙ නීති වෙනස්ද ඔන්න වගේ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. අපි ඒවා निराකරණය කරගමු. මම හිතන්නේ මේක අපි බලන් ඉන්න සිසුන්ට ඉතාම වැදගත්.
Yeah, that's the exact question I was going to ask. So Finn, now a lot of students they have been taking Scotland to be a totally different country. And when they ask us, when they say okay Scotland, they ask us okay is the visa the same as UK? What do I do in Scotland? Do we get everything that is there in the UK in Scotland too? So tell me, why should a student select Scotland? And is there any differences between UK and then Scotland? So England and Scotland, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. So I completely understand it's quite a confusing setup that we have in the UK. So the UK stands for United Kingdom, and there's 4 countries within that. England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and Abertay, we are located in Scotland in Dundee. The main difference between our educational systems, the main difference that I think students will pick up on immediately is the fact that in England it's a 3-year degree and in Scotland it's a 4-year degree. I studied at Abertay. I'm a Scottish student previously. I'm now obviously in employment now. But in terms of my journey, I actually really appreciated that extra year. It allowed me to do my placement, my work placement in 3rd year built into my course. It also allowed for me to have that extra year with my honours degree, doing a little bit more learning, a little bit more chance for that exposure to our academics, to our experts in the field. So I really wouldn't see the 4th year as a detriment. What we do, and this, I can speak on behalf of some of the the Scotland universities, is we have a scholarship. So that can offset, when you look at it in a total package, that can offset the majority of that 4th year cost. Even though it's a yearly scholarship and it's guaranteed and automatic, and we'll be delighted to make sure that everyone receives that, it is £12,000, and that means that we can almost fully pay for that 1 year extra. Of course, there will be an extra living cost, and it absolutely is an extra year with us, but actually that's better for everybody, especially those students who would quite like to stay an extra year and get a little bit more help. So by all means, it's a difference. But for those that are really, really driven and maybe just want a really quick degree, and I understand that financial constraints will, dictate that choice, then the 3-year degree is a wonderful option in the UK. But please do not discount Scotland. We are such a welcoming and friendly country. Dundee itself, very, very much a cultural experience, not only for the people who live there, but for those who join us as a student for either 1 year in a master's, a couple of years in research, or for 4 years in undergrad. So a few differences, but also lots of positives with that.
Yeah, but again, even though the program is 4 years, you also have a scholarship.
Yes.
And that makes you it makes the final year almost free.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You're not literally paying anything.
Yeah, exactly. And by then, hopefully, there would be some instances where the student might have a part-time job, being in their 4th year. They might also have interned with a couple of our networks, especially when we do a lot of industry-led partnering during our degrees. So there could be instances where actually by that time that cost wouldn't actually be that much more significant at that point in their journey of learning. So yeah, hopefully some options for them to consider.
Right.
මයිතර චතුරිකා ඒක ඉතාම වැදගත් කරුණු රසක් අනාවරණය වුණා ඒ සාකච්ඡාවේදී. මම හිතන්නේ අපි පොඩ්ඩක් සඳහන් කරොත් හොඳයි කියලා හිතනවා. දැන් අපි අර මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය ගත්තම කොටස් 4කින් තියෙන අයර්ලන්තය, ස්කොට්ලන්තය, මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය ඔන්න ආදී වශයෙන්. දැන් එතනදී අර අනිත් ප්‍රාන්තවල නැත්නම් අනිත් ප්‍රදේශවල අර අවුරුදු 3ක් යන ඩිග්‍රී එක ස්කොට්ලන්තයේදී අවුරුදු 4ක් යනවා. නමුත් ඒ වුණාට අර අවසාන අවුරුද්ද ඒගොල්ලෝ
මොකද හේතුව Abertay විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ තියෙන ස්කෝලර්ෂිප් එකක්. ඉතින් මේ ස්කෝලර්ෂිප් එක හම්බෙනවා අන්ඩර්ග්‍රැජුවේට් ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක්ට. ඒ ස්ටුඩන්ට් ඒකත් එක්ක යාගේ මේ අපි හරියටම ටෝටල් කොස්ට් එක කවුන්ට් කරොත් ෆයිනලි එක ෆ්‍රී.
අන්න ඒක තමයි. ඒක තාම වැදගත් කාරණයක්.
yes. ඉතින් එතකොට ඇත්තට මෙතන අපිට ෆයිනෑන්ෂලි බලුවොත් ඩිස්ඇඩ්වාන්ටේජ් එකක් නැහැ.
ඔව්.
අනිත් එක තමයි බුද්ධි දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් 4th year එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට අපි අවුරුදු 3ක ස්ටඩීස් කරලා අපි අවුරුදු 3ක් ඉන්නකොට අපි හොඳට සෙටල් වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් 4th year කියලා ෆයිනල් ඉයර් කියලා කියනකොට අපි එළියට ගිහිල්ලා අපේ ඔපචුනිටිස් හොයාගන්න හරියට මේ මැචුරිටි ලෙවල් එකට ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් මං හිතනවා මේක ඩිස්ඇඩ්වාන්ටේජ් එකක් කියලා ගන්න අවශ්‍ය කාරණාවක් නෙවෙයි කියන්නේ.
නෙමෙයි සාරද ඔයා කියපු කාරණේ දැන් අර අවසාන අවුරුද්දේ Tamanට රැකියාවක් සඳහා දොරටු විවෘත කරගන්න හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා නම් එතනින් මම හිතන්නේ දැන් ඕකනේ අපේ බලාපොරොත්තු. ඉහිඳ ඒ බලාපොරොත්තු සඵල කරගන්න Abertay විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයෙන් ඉතාම මැනවින් අවස්ථාව සලසලා දීලා තියෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ මේ කතාව බලාගෙන ඉන්න නරඹන සියලු දෙනාට දැන් පැහැදිලි ඇති. අර මූලිකව පොඩි වෙනස්කම් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඒ වෙනස්කම් තිබ්බට ඒක කිසිම ආකාරයෙන් Tamanට මේ අවඩක් පාඩුවක් සිද්ධ වෙන දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. Abertay විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයට අපිට යන්න පුළුවන් නම් අර කිව්වා වගේ 4 වෙනි අවුරුද්දේ Tamanට එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් ඇතුව Tamanට මම හිතන්නේ ඒ රැඳෙන්න හොඳම අවස්ථාව උදා කරගන්න හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා.
යන්න ඕන කාරණාවක් තමයි ඇත්තටම වීසා එකේ කිසිම ඩිෆරන්ස් එකක් නැහැ. මොකද අපි UK කියලා ගත්තාම වීසා එක ඔය මොන ප්‍රාන්තයට ගියත්
එකම තමයි.
එකම කන්ඩිෂන්ස් එකම රෙගියුලේෂන්ස් තමයි බලපාන්නේ. ඉතින් මම අපි කතා කරමු පුතේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් ගැන. මොකද Abertay එක ගත්තොත් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ස්පෙෂලි මේගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් හරිම ස්ට්‍රෝං කම්පියුටර් සයන්ස් ෆීල්ඩ් එකේ.
ඒකද මම අර ගේම්ස් ගැනත් කිව්වේ ඒකත් අපි විශේෂයෙන් සඳහන් කරමු. මොකද මෙහි ඉන්නවා ඒකට කැමති වෙනම පිරිසක්. අපි දන්නේවත් නැති සබ්ජෙක්ට්ස් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒක.
Yes. So let me turn back to Finn. So I just particularly wanted to pick up the special programs. Now I know we have Abertay has a program for CIMA graduates. So likewise, what kind of special programs do you have for students?
For sure, we have a number that we're very well known for, some of which we've been the first university in the world to start, some of which are a slightly more alternative option to education, and some students think, oh my goodness, I didn't know I could study that. So what we're most well known for, and I would start with, is computer games education. We're top in the UK currently, and we rank very highly worldwide in terms of our level of education and that quality. And the reason we do so is that we were one of the first universities in the world to ever offer this, and certainly the first in the UK. And we have 4 different degrees within computer games. So we have 2 that are very programming and maths focused. These are looking as a game developer or game programmer. So the building blocks of the game, how it runs, the smooth interaction of it, and how players are going to play that. This also has to run in line with the storyline. So they're bringing that game to life in performance. We then have 1 in computer arts, which is our only artistic degree. And this is essentially a fine arts degree with an overlay of all of the digital media that students need to know in order to become a game artist. Now, that could be animation, that could be stop-start videography, that could be 3D development and concept design and character development as well, on top of a ton of different graphic design. Because ultimately, they're bringing it to life in the visual impact. Not just in how the characters look and how it plays, but the user interface, the marketing and the branding, the logo, how it looks on the box. Ultimately, it has to be eye-catching or deliver a message as to what the game is. Our 4th option is a game design and production course, a degree. This is looking at the overall end-to-end production level. So like a manager, they need to know from that initial concept and idea spark, how to develop that into a full story, and then how to put that into place, utilizing the skills of the programmers, the developers, and the artists to produce a complete game. They also operate as, I suppose, the sales, the marketing, understanding that the testing went well, and it's essentially doing it all again. And the reason why we have these 4 degrees is that it most accurately mimics what we have and what we find in a gaming company structure. So you have your developers, your programmers, your artists, and then a producer to look after it all. These are all 4 years in length. They're incredibly involved in the gaming industry. And as an extra perk, just from what we have in terms of reputation, there's 42 games companies located in Dundee alone. So we are the UK gaming hub the UK hub of gaming. And we also just found out that this is the highest gaming company quantity per capita in Europe. So nobody can really mimic what we do. We have incredible links to industry at the point of where our students are heavily involved in that network. So being able to mix with the likes of Sony PlayStation, with the likes of Ubisoft, with the likes of smaller companies as well that are still, getting a lot of attention. And the other side of what we do, and what we're also very well known for in the other area of technical courses, is ethical hacking and cybersecurity. We were the first in the world to ever offer an ethical hacking degree. And students and parents and teachers say to me, Finn, what is ethical hacking? So ethical hacking is an offensive approach to mitigating malicious attacks. Yeah. Essentially, the ethical part is working with clients to attack their systems. The ethical part is with permission. Yeah. We cannot do it without permission. That is not okay. But what this does is it gets to the weak point of their system first. So these graduates and the professionals in this industry are working with the client base to consistently find whether there's a flaw. Yeah. So essentially, they're taught to break systems. So it's a very disruptive type of world. And this helps clients to find their flaw, fix it, and have something more secure put in place, and ultimately be able to ward off anyone who's coming at them from a malicious side.
Yeah, because we used to know hacking used to be bad.
Yes, exactly.
Nice, but now we have an ethical side.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah. And the other side, we absolutely have cybersecurity. It's computer science with cybersecurity, and this is looking at the other side. So it's not necessarily about breaking, this is about perfecting. Yeah. Using the technology and sometimes software that isn't even available yet. We do have that on our campus, and we give our students that space, that facility, that intellectual broadband to look at how they can make the next future program in cybersecurity. Yeah. So there are two sides, if you like, making perfect things or if you like breaking things. So it's a phenomenal degree area, and it's also a highly lucrative graduate market. That's right. Graduates are going into very, very nice looking salaries when they graduate. And also because of the reputation we have in this industry, there's a huge amount of things that we incorporate into the degree to make sure that we expose our students to lots and lots of networking opportunities, employment opportunities, and getting their own persona and their own skills out on a wide network. So,
I'm sure the employability should be very high with all the connections that Abertay has in the industry.
Yeah, we have alumni all across the world in games, in ethical hacking, cybersecurity, and across our other fields of specialism in science and business too. So there's an alumni network everywhere.
ඔය ජොතික ඉතාම රසවත් කතාබහක් මේ දැන් හැකින් වල අපි නොදකින්න පැත්තක් ඇතුලේ තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒක ඉතාම එතිකල් පැත්ත. ඒක ඉතාම වටිනවා. ඉතින් ඊට අමතරව අපි කතා කරමු විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයෙන් ලැබෙන සපෝට් එක කොහොමද මේ සපෝට් සිස්ටම් එක ගැන.
Very important. So Finn, now we also wanted to discuss about the types of support that the university gives for international students, because we all know, like, even the parents, when they send their kid off for studies, they're worried they're going to be alone, there's nobody to look after the child. So what kind of support does the university provide for international students?
For sure. It's definitely a valid concern. And I know that if I had a child that was going off to university who maybe hadn't traveled that far, I would be equally as nervous. So their feelings are absolutely valid in that part. And the way that the university is able to offer support is in a range of different services. Not to mention, you have the support in country from myself when I can travel and visit. You have our partners in country as well. We also have representation and in-country managers that can also help alleviate any queries, any concerns, especially any difficulties or any, real worries. So before they even arrive, they've got a huge amount of support ready in country here. During the process, not only does the international team, who I represent today, have a lot of influence and a lot of, touch points throughout their process, the admissions team, our advisory team, and our student services team are all working with the students. Even if they're not aware, they're getting marketing emails and hints and tips, and here's what you need to do next. And it's all guiding them along to be fully prepared. On top of that, once they arrive, one of the biggest things that we do in a conjoined event between the international team, our advisory team, and also student services, we do a huge international welcome. The event is for all of our international students, each intake. It takes place on campus. There's loads of information, there's social activities, there's games, there's ways to win prizes and to try out some local Scottish drinks and snacks. But more importantly, it's signposting those students to all of the different facilities and services we have. So one of the areas that I love, and actually I use those services too because they really help out the staff as well, but they're called SEZ, S-E-Z, and that's the Support Inquiry Zone. They're located on the ground floor of the library, and they know everything about Abertay. They know exactly who to speak to, what form they might need, what the process will be for whatever their request. So they basically become their best friends once they arrive. SES is always manned, apart from a few hours of the wee hours of the morning, as we would say, but they are on campus the majority of the time, the most out of our entire faculty, apart from security. So they have SES. They also have our advisory team that take that one step further and deal with the more complicated issues, such as funding, scholarships, disability support, immigration and visa support as well. So that is all very much taken seriously, and we have the capability to make sure that that's all looked after. Even further than that, if it comes down to well-being, mental health, counselling, even if it's just feeling homesick and not really knowing who to turn to, we have a wonderful mental health and counselling department who are there at a drop of a hat, so to speak. So we do have a commitment to make sure that students are acknowledged and answered within a certain time frame to make sure that it's okay. We know that you need some help. Let me set up an appointment with you. So they have someone that they can link with and they can talk to, maybe go and grab a coffee with, and just speak to them about how they're feeling, which has nothing to do with their academics, with the advisory team, or with anyone else. It's just a very private conversation. That also means that if our professional counsellors and mental health support team notice that that student is needing actually some more help, we can refer them to our mental health and psychologists. And that is something that's completely free. It's a service that we actually increased during the pandemic and COVID because of the need, but we have maintained that support 100%. So I would say that more than that, usually I do know quite a few of the parents. So sometimes I do get a WhatsApp saying, have you seen my son around? And more than likely, I absolutely have. Or their daughter. So sometimes I can just say, it's okay. They're going to class as far as I'm aware. Let me know and I can go and catch up with them.
Yes.
So, we are a really community feel university. We would never want anyone to feel isolated. And we would always try to make sure that they have the right pathways to find help or support in whatever they need.
Yes, and I do have first-hand experience with her dealing with student problems. So we have had a couple of inquiries where the students needed help and we have been in touch to solve the problems, and they are doing fantastically well in Scotland. So I can definitely guarantee all the support that the university gives in terms of student support. So
ඉතින් මම හිතනවා සාකච්ඡාවේ අවසාන භාගයට අපි ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ ඇබටි විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය සම්බන්ධයෙන් අද පුළුල් විදිහට අපිට කතා කරන්න හැකියාවක් ලැබුණා. මොනවද තියෙන කෝසස් ගැන සහ ඒවා තෝරගන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද සහ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය පැත්තේ ලැබෙන සපෝට් එක ඉතාම ඉහළයි. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා ඔබට බය නැතුව තෝරගන්න පුළුවන් විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයක්. ඒ හින්දා ඒ ගැන සැකයක් තියාගන්න එපා. පත්‍රික මම හිතන්නේ අවසන් කරන්න අපිට අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා නේද? එහෙනම් අපි අද දවසේදී අපේ විසගුරු මෙම මැදිරියට පැමිණීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය ඇබටේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ අප්‍රිකානු හා ආසියානු කලාපයේ බහර ජාත්‍යන්තර නියෝජිතවරිය ෆෙන්ඩලා හැක්වුඩ් මහත්මියට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා අද දවසේදී පැමිණීම සම්බන්ධයෙන්. අපි තවත් දවසක විසගුරු තවත් හරවත් වැඩසටහනකින් හම්බෙමු.